Hi, I'm Steve Pope, Executive Director of Access Television, and we're here today celebrating 26 years of Access being active. And we're going to be celebrating a whole lot of other things. With me is our board chair, that is our current board chair, Ann Knowles. And Ann and I are going to be talking and giving you some information to start with. Hi, Ann.
Hello. You know, I'm so excited about this year, and I'll tell you why. It gives me a chance to use the new term. We have gone through a sea change.
Sea change, okay.
I hear that on television all the time. So, you are the new executive director.
I am.
We are changing our name to become a community media center. We will now be Salina Media Connection.
Correct.
And we will be using Community Access Television / Salina Media Connection interchangeably for a while.
Yes, for our transition period, so people will wonder whatever happened to Access. We'll do transition.
Tell us what new programs that might involve.
We've got a lot, not only new programs, but we've also got updating the programs we do have. So let me talk a little bit about the update first. We have updated a long-running show here, The Scene, and it is being updated with a new set. So that in itself is a step forward. Other projects that we're working on is just updating what we call our general programming and making what we call block programming, so the program is predictable and we're able to say Tuesday, 3 o'clock, tune in. And so that's one of the things that we're creating so that any of the viewers will know when they go to their source to when that particular show will be taken and on. We are adding some fun stuff to the actual content. One of them is we are going to be showing vintage movies.
I'm glad.
Yeah, and the vintage movies will be all the wonderful old movies that we knew back when everything was C-rated or G-rated. And so that's history, I know. But the bigger picture of that is that we will be doing westerns, we will be doing detectives, we will be doing comedy, and we will be doing drama. And all these will be mixed throughout. Now, one thing I need to make sure people know that we're not replacing what we're doing.
Right.
It's really important people that understand that what we're doing is adding to. And the philosophy behind that is we will continue to be a public station for this community.
And I think we are going to be doing some things that are audio only, so talk to me about podcasting.
I am excited about podcasting. In fact, later on in the program, you'll meet Mikey Rupert. And Mike has had a podcast show in LA for 2 or 3 years and has come back here. And podcasting is another piece of the realm of media. In the past, we've done primarily television. Podcasting is another venue, and we will have 2 studios. One studio is being dedicated, the other is being put together. And in that, you can come in and you can do your own little radio show if you want, or a podcast show. So there's a lot of people that would be maybe interested in doing that. A lot of maybe the churches, things of that nature. Younger kids wanting to do their thing. Another thing we'll be doing is we're moving into the realm of iPad and iPhone.
Right.
And in that, we will be having some classes. In fact, we've already been approached for 2 of them on how to film on your telephone or your iPad or iPod. So that makes it another enjoyable thing for people to come and say, well, I don't know how to do the angles.
Right.
I know what I want, and I'm having fun, but I'd like to have something maybe a little more polished. So with that in mind, those kinds of things will be added to what we already are doing. What we also are adding is we're adding a news break segment. Now, again, it's not news as we know it in the sense of one of the larger stations, but what we will do is be breaking in. If there's a tornado, if there is a fire, if there's a casualty of some nature, Amber Alert, things of these natures, we will be breaking in and doing an informational on that. We will be covering some news that may be noteworthy at that time as a bit of the coverage. So we're kind of excited about that because it allows us to go into another territory and working with the community and being relevant into what we're doing.
And to make things all more aware, Diana Dirks, who is here with us this morning, and Randy Hardy are working with Cox so that we will be listed. As you skim through the channel listings, it will show what we're doing. That will help increase our audience, which we need to
Certainly, certainly.
And we will continue also to concentrate on the good work that we do with the government channel and the coverage that we have there of commission meetings and committee meetings at the city and the county. Those are very important.
I think that's another thing that's going to be embellished to some degree or growth. The government channel has also availability for education. So we're going to be looking at some of the times, of course, the commission and meetings for the county will always take precedence because that's part of our contract. But we will start adding maybe some of the educational programs that will be available for them to view on that channel also.
Also, I want to tell all of you about the wonderful work that the staff and particularly the executive director has done on partnerships. We have just signed a marvelous partnership and we're working on 3 more, and that partnership title is part of the sea change. It allows us to bring in more revenue to do the additional things that we want to do at this station. It has been most gratifying to be a part of that.
Well, and the nice thing is it's still going to be community-centered. We'll be doing specific productions. Right now, we're working with one company that we have a contract that we will simply do informational videos for them in the nursing field and the medical field, which will allow them to educate their patients or to meet certain government requirements with HIPAA and things of that nature. So we will be producing them. Once again, we're not profiting. No. That money goes back into the growth of this station. So that's very important for them to understand.
And hopefully will allow us, as we grow, to add a couple of more staff positions.
Yes, we must.
I want everyone who watches us and everyone who's here today for the annual meeting to take time to meet the staff who are present. It makes the station work. We are in their debt.
Lots of fun, lots of changes, and like the article said, new this, new that, everything seems to be changes, but we're changing at a time that I think that the city is changing. With the water, with the new river corridor, what's it called,
The River Project?
Project, there. And then, of course, the new activities that are taking place in the town itself, and new businesses coming in.
Yeah, and the work that we're doing with Arts and Humanities with the artists who are coming in. It really is an exciting time, and it's the perfect time for people in the community to come down and volunteer with us.
Yes.
I'm volunteering. I'm now doing an interview called Strictly Salina
That's right.
once a month, and that's been fun for me. So I'm hoping that a number of the rest of you will do the same thing.
What I'd like to do now, or very close to it time-wise, we're going to have you introduce and talk with a few of the appointees or members that are coming on board. I would just like for the public to think about the fact that we have been here for some 25, 26 years. That's a phenomenal thing considering in the state of Kansas we are the only PEG station or public education governmental station. On the east and west coast, there are a tremendous amount of them, very popular. But for some solid reason, we have been supported through the community to keep this station open. And now we're helping it grow. And that's one of the things.
We're changing with the times.
Yes. So I think we're ready to take a break. And we will be back with Ann and some of the new members.
I would like to introduce you to Jim Govro, who has been an active volunteer for a long time, and I want to talk about that first, Jim. Tell us what you've done in the past with Salina Access Community Television.
I started with volunteering for Friday Night Football, and then I've kind of helped out on different shows here and there, and yeah, just kind of where I've been needed.
And to tell you all how persuasive we are, we talked him in to being on our board of directors, which hasn't been announced yet, but Mike's going to announce that here pretty soon. Because the votes have been counted, and Jim is a brand new board member. He's going to be nominated to take an office this year on the board. As you and also his wife Heather is going to be involved with us and is involved with us right now. And Heather and I go back a long way because she was one of my students at Brown Mackie College. So I'm delighted to have both of you in our midst. And your son helped me carry all that food up the steps today.
He was just a friend.
Oh, he's just a friend. I thought maybe he was your son. At any rate, Jim, tell me what you're looking forward to in your expanded role with Community Access. What do you want to accomplish this year? What do you want to help us accomplish?
Just to help the place grow and just to get more people involved.
And one of the things that I am so grateful for in your talents, Jim, is that you're calm and level-headed. And I can tell you, some of us on the board are a bit outspoken from time to time. And so we're looking forward to you being our synthesizer.
Oh boy.
Which we need a lot of the time. Could you tell us a little bit about the program, the football program?
Well, I took over Friday Night Football 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that, from Royce, who actually started it, I guess, the year that when Access first started. So it's one of the longest running, it's the longest running program here at Access.
And it actually earns income for the station.
And it's a very big production. It's very multitasking to do.
And I don't know whether you recall when we brainstormed how we could help that expand. We've done football, and what kinds of things might you be looking forward to with other sports with the public schools?
Just trying to at least do some of the South Central stuff, at least the local, because sometimes it's hard to get a crew, when it's during the weekday and it takes so long to do. But to do some of the other South Central stuff would be kind of fun to do.
And you see, that's another persuasive hook that we want to put out to the audience. Come down and learn how to be a helper, be a producer, bring a volunteer staff and produce your own show. In your family, you had a swimmer in your family for a long time.
Yep.
And it would be fun to cover swimming.
It'd be me to do swimming. And
it would be great. My grandson is a wrestler. It'd be great to cover wrestling, wouldn't it?
It'd be fun to do them all.
It would. And so that will be another direction perhaps that group can come to. As far as working with the staff, which you've done a lot of as a volunteer, are they worth working with?
Oh, yes. They're fun. They're fun.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.
I would like for everyone to meet Brenda Gutierrez. She doesn't need much introduction, but she is going to serve with us this year as a board member. I can't tell you what that means to our success because Brenda is an expert in so many areas. But Brenda, do you mind talking about yourself for just a few minutes?
Oh, maybe a little bit.
Okay. Tell us about your background first, and then we'll put you over at the United Way and with all the other efforts that you've been with.
Well, lots of my passions you will see come out as a board member. I'm happy to bring the connecting that we have in this community, in the county, in the region, and in the state. Anything that we can do to lift up what people are doing. Some of my passions you might be seeing throughout the year. I am a great big fan of the little libraries, so anything around education and the little libraries and reading. Also, local food, healthy food. I'll have some of that woven into what we work on this year, I hope.
And your professional position at the moment is?
I work at the Salina Area United Way, and I'm a program director at the Salina Area United Way. Our mission is to strengthen the community, and I felt like that's a really good match with what we're doing here at Community Access TV. What we get to do every day is to strengthen our community.
And for those of you who are active in the community with other volunteer efforts, you are aware of how fortunate Community Access is to have Brenda in our midst, because she's probably really too busy to be doing this, but she said she would work with us.
Yes.
And she will bring strength that is much needed to our board of directors. So if there's one thing that you would like to see us accomplish coming right in the door, what would that be maybe? Any thoughts?
Oh, caught me off guard.
Well, I'm sorry about
that. That's okay. If you think about at my work, every day I fight for the health, education, and financial stability of everyone in the community. I think that's something we're going to work on together here too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Being better organized, being more professional, working on those kinds of factors in the Salina community that makes us a strong entity, and giving people an opportunity to participate with us,
yes,
to network with us, is the is the effort that you have seen us make in the name change. Does that make sense to you, becoming a community media center, calling it Salina Media Connection? Do you know what those community media centers are all about?
Well, I think it's a great way to bring in more people because they may think, oh, that's not for me, or oh, that's not a good fit. Having those one-on-one conversations with volunteers I have found to be most productive in my work, whether it's something to do with our back-to-school fair or summer meals. There's some great opportunities for all ages, and as we educate the community, what does the new name mean as we transition from one to the other? It's a great opportunity for our community, and I think the board, the new elected board members are ready for it. We're taking it on.
Thank you so much for joining us in that effort. You know, I have a grandson who can make a film on his phone.
Yes.
And so that kind of thing we're going to be doing more of too, so that we can attract and have younger people invest in the effort that we're making. Brenda, thank you for being part of this effort.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
I would like you all to meet Ramona Newsom. Many of you know her, and I can say that I've known her for some time. At one point, Ramona was a student of mine, even though I'm quite young. She was a student at Brown Mackey, went ahead to do externship work there that helped that two-year school thrive while she was present. As you know, she's been on the Board of Education here in District 305. And Ramona, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind, about what has brought you to the role that you're playing with your church, with your community, with us, and your educational interests as well.
Okay, and you say we have 2 hours, right?
Yes, I think we do.
Okay.
We're going to make extra time.
I have been really blessed to be here it'll be 14 years on May the 5th. That was a 2-week vacation on May the 5th of 2004. And I guess we'll share that it was a really abusive relationship that brought me here. And I was just going to get away for a couple of weeks, and I was just told that I needed to be here. And so I stayed, and it's been the biggest blessing in my life.
And it's been a blessing for our community as well.
Well, I immediately felt like this was home. So it was very easy to just infuse myself into the community, because that's what Salina is. It's a community. It's a family. In whatever facet, as long as you have a desire to participate, there's something for everybody.
Absolutely.
So,
tell us about the work you have in the church to which you belong. You are very, very busy there.
I was almost late here because I was working on bulletins for tomorrow. I'm the minister of music for my church. I'm a songwriter. I'm a pianist. I'm the district minister of music for 7 churches across the state.
That is a blessing to everyone with whom you work. It truly, truly, truly is.
Thank you.
What did you enjoy most about your tenure on the Board of Education?
Oh, that was, oddly enough, a dream come true. When I was in high school, we had 2 teacher strikes in Kansas City, Missouri. So I was not happy about that. And the second one was my senior year. So we graduated on May the whatever it was, and that was on like a Saturday, and Monday morning we were back at school. That was an anticlimactic graduation, I tell you.
Yes, it would be.
And we were in school for another 6 weeks. So at that point, as a senior in high school, I said, I need to be a part of the Board of Education because I don't ever want another child to have to go through that. And that's not been an issue here, but thankfully enough, hopefully, I made a difference in that appointment. It was a very short term, but it was amazing, and I learned so many things, and hopefully I made a difference.
And I want you to know that many in the community want you to do that again. And I'm not pushing you to plan a campaign just now. Would you talk to us just for a minute on the summary biography that you turned in? You talked about some of your strengths. Would you share a few of those as to how that will help us in our mission?
I work for the Kansas Livestock Association, and so we had done the Strength Finders, the Clifton Strength Finders assessment. And I work with engineers and agronomists, these wonderfully gifted, intelligent people. I think I'm kind of smart though, but these
Yes, you
intelligent
are.
people.
I know you are.
And and they had concrete strengths. Mine were soft. They were empathy and harmony and connectiveness and positivity. I'm like, what is that going to contribute to you guys? And what they shared with me was, you're very important because you're like an equalizer. You mentioned earlier that there's some very soft, very
Right.
strong individuals, and I guess I kind of equalize. So
And I know that you're a problem solver. And Ramona, thank you for being a part of the board this year. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm here with this year's MVP of the year, Tanner Parrott, and actually Tanner won the award of Player of the Week a couple of times last year, I believe. I'm just going to kind of give these to you, Tanner, because I hadn't given them to you. The MVP of the week for the South and Goddard game, the MVP of the week for the South and Central game, and then like the most important one, which I kind of talked about, the MVP of the year. And this award that we give each week is called the Remax Advantage Realtors and Access TV MVP of the week. And this is the first award that we've given for the MVP of the year, which is Tanner Parrott. And thank you for doing such a great job, Tanner.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very thankful and blessed to have all this. Thank you guys are recognizing me as a player of the year and that I'm able to be at that caliber of an athlete. Thank you very much.
I'm going to just kind of come in here and let you have that. This is the one you always get when you're watching the game shows and stuff. Yeah, so we have the game show one here, but we would like to at least make sure you get the actual check for your hard work. All right.
I'm very thankful. Thank you guys.
Right? 24 hours a day on print.
Here's a whole ton of brass buttons for you.
And what are you doing?
We're back with Carol Bell. And Carol is our office manager and our community liaison. And Carol is also going to be covering our news breaks. Let's talk a little bit about the whole concept of the news. We talked a little bit about earlier, but what do you see happening there?
Well, I see exciting things as far as, reporting on local events that are going on. I feel like that's kind of one of our things in the community that we need to do.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really important that we continue to embed ourselves more and more into the community. And as there are more activities taking place, we'll be able to weigh which ones are newsworthy as far as breaking in. What other ways are we going to use the news break itself, or the weather break, or?
Well, like if, say, there's an accident or a tornado is coming, we can get those breaking news out, right away to the Salina community.
Okay. Well, this is just a small piece of what we're doing. And I know that Carol has worked very hard on this project for our open house. So I want to thank her personally. I think it's enough to say that we should probably have a drink. You want to go have a drink?
I agree.
I think we should go have a drink.
Okay.
So I think we'll go over here to the scene, and I'm going to travel myself over here, and we'll just walk right on over. And look who's here. You want to get behind the bar?
Oh.
Ladies,
Hi, Steve.
could you ask for more? Beautiful ladies, a bar, and it's Saturday.
And it's Saturday.
Carol's willing to serve us anything we want, but I'd like for you guys to tell us a little bit about the history of the scene, all the things that have happened, maybe some faux pas that have taken place. So Chrissy and Shauna, tell us a little bit. Who wants to go first with what they've experienced here at the scene?
Well, let me give you a little history about the scene. So the scene concept of the talk show was originally started by Marcia Stevenson, and it's been about 7 years. And we are a different cast than what originally started, you know, back in the day. So we are on season 7, believe it or not. The concept has proven itself. We keep coming back. We keep doing more shows. And I joined the cast in season 3, and Christy joined in season 4.
So tell me a little bit about the context of the show, because you guys kind of break the rules at times, but not really, and you have things going on that may be controversial. And do you address things that might be situational or going on, we'll say, with city commission or things of that nature?
Yeah, we are pretty controversial. We all have very different views, but we're able to express them as adults on our show while keeping it exciting, which I think is something that most adults can't do. So I think that's what makes us fun to watch.
Well, that and the other piece of that that's really important is that if we can't laugh at ourselves, if we can't laugh at situations, we end up having a very dull environment. So you've got to take things tongue-in-cheek sometimes. You got to play it as you see it. And the people that you kind of make fun of have to take it in tongue-in-cheek also.
Yeah, we've all had our turn in the doghouse, that's for sure.
We have, for various reasons. But the thing is that I think what makes the show exciting is that we sort of know what we're going to talk about when we come to the show, but we don't do a ton of preparation. That makes it fresh. We, talk about our own ideas when we come on the show. We don't normally converse about our feelings about certain topics ahead of time.
The only thing we talk about is what we're going to wear.
That's right.
Does Charles talk about what he's going to wear?
Yes, there's been
I
plenty
think
of times.
it would be his nature to
Him
do
and
that.
Jeff twin all the time.
Let's talk a little bit about those two guys. Tell me a little bit about Charles and his background as doing the show. We know he's diverse in so many other ways.
Well, Charles was actually an original cast member of the show. So he has a lot of longevity, a lot of experience. He's kind of the person that keeps us a little bit grounded. He tries to anyway. So we enjoy having Charles and his perspectives. I think that probably we clash a little bit more with Charles on occasion.
No, never.
But that's always exciting to hear what he has to say.
Now, is Jeff sort of the off-the-wall guy? Is he? Can we label him as off the wall?
Definitely. You never know what Jeff's going to say, which keeps it exciting.
Well, it's important, I think, to have shows of this nature in a community so that we do keep it light. So if I want to book on the show, let's say that we want Melissa Hodges to come and visit us. Would we be able to provide her with a chair?
Absolutely. Or she can stand behind the bar if she would like to, whatever she's comfortable with, because on the scene it's all about relaxing conversations. We want to just create that atmosphere of just sitting around the bar or the fire pit or wherever you are when you have those really good conversations one-on-one, and create that kind of an atmosphere.
We would be at loss if we did not mention Curtis James, or better known as Cash. How's he to work with?
Wonderful. Cash Hollister has taught us so much.
He has.
It has been really nice to have somebody to go to who is able to provide direction and still allow us to be free in our words and able to express our feelings. And he gives us great direction and is wonderful to work with.
All right.
I'd like to refer to him as the creative genius of the show.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, he really, his editing and, like Christy said, his direction is just really unsurpassed. He makes us look good no matter what happens during the taping of the show. By the time it comes out in the edited format, we all look fantastic.
We do.
And we appreciate that.
And we know what it really was like.
That's
so
right.
That's
right.
It's nice to be able to see it all come together beautifully, and we don't look like idiots.
So the magic really happens in the editing room more than anything.
Unfortunately, yes.
I think it takes some talent, or you ladies would not stayed on here and you've been booed off. Everyone seems to enjoy what you're doing, and of course we're glad that you're here and assisting this station to do more and more. What do you think of our new little set?
We're excited about the set. We really are. I mean, we think that this just encompasses what we want to bring to the show, and we can't wait to use it.
Yeah, it brings a more appropriate atmosphere, I think, for our kind of show. That something relaxed, and you forget the cameras are even here.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Back again, and right before we give you the results of our voting for the new chairmans and et cetera, I'd like you to meet Mikey Rupert. And I'm going to talk a little bit about him basically because he is in a supportive manner helping us with the podcast program. Now, Mikey, you had a podcast show in Los Angeles for about 2 years?
That's correct.
Tell me again what is that like to do podcasting, to give the audience a picture?
Podcasting was a great outlet for me because my show that I did was about sports, and I was very passionate about it. And I found out, knowing nothing when I began it, just having a background in radio, how not that complicated it is to begin a podcast, but to me it was very exciting, starting a show, learning how to build a show, and then having a show that was good enough to not only get new listeners, but to actually have sustained listenership, which is very difficult in that medium.
So it's kind of like having a following, like any other thing. You build that. With a podcast, what is so different about a podcast as opposed to a television show? What are the main differences?
The main difference of a podcast is how deep you can get on a very esoteric genre. So we're talking about sports every single day, but instead of glossing over it in 30 minutes like what you see on ESPN shows or whatever it would be, we would have a full hour to talk about whatever topics that we wanted to in great detail. So throughout the week we would research and we would have, we'd book guests and things like that, and then we'd have maybe a couple of set topics that we would go, and instead of taking television or even sometimes radio shows which or there's suits telling them to move along and to get to the next topic. We had as much time as we needed to dive in and get as very specific about certain things that we cared about talking about.
I think that would fit really well with what we're doing here at Access for people to be able to produce their own live or produce their own shows with Access Television, but also with the Media Center. That outlet would again be there for maybe someone who doesn't want to be on camera. That's another thing that could take place. If you don't want to be on camera, but you have a voice, this is one way to do it.
Exactly. And you don't have to, you can kind of plan your show exactly the way that you want to plan it. So you've got TV shows and things, and if you're working with a company, you might have to have a set agenda of the things that you need to be speaking about.
Right.
But this way, you can get as specific as you need to, and although your audience might not be as large, you might have somebody who is just as passionate about as the topic that you're talking about as you are, that want to listen, and so sometimes you're dealing with maybe a smaller overall audience, but a much more engaged and intense audience, and that was one thing that I always enjoyed about podcasting.
Well, you have another life that I want to mention before we go to the final on our show today. You have a group that you work with. It's called Herringbone.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about Herringbone, because isn't that what kind of brought you back to this area?
Yeah, I originally was doing radio in LA, and I had an opportunity to kind of to produce and help engineer an album with a friend of mine, a music album, which is completely unrelated to podcasting. And that sounded like a lot of fun, so I decided to do that. And now, after the record that we made came out, we decided to actually play the songs live. And so we started a band started learning the songs that we'd played, and now we play around this, the Salina area and around the Midwest. I mean, we've played in Colorado and we've played in all over Kansas and trying to expand.
Sort of interesting. It's a reversal. First, most people will put a band together and then go for the album.
Yes.
You did the reverse thing.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and I want people to know that this voice you may be hearing on some of our voiceovers with Mikey's experience will be more than glad to take advantage of his talent here at Salina Media Connection.